It looks like to me that you want to get a six-pack. On the same page here? Let's say your main goal is to get as shredded as possible, as fast as possible. I'm not here to be the guy to tell you that it's going to be easy, but I will be the guy to tell you that if you want to do it, it's totally possible. We're gonna get the obvious things out of the way first, and towards the end are the things you may not have thought about and things that are actually going to move the needle way more than you think they would. So to start off, I'm gonna tell you right now that you are definitely going to need to be in some sort of steep calorie deficit. And I know that there's a high chance that you've heard something like this before and you're like, oh, this again? But think about it. Right now, I could be selling you some cheap supplement and then completely lose your trust and promise that it works even though it doesn't, and then get a bunch of terrible reviews online. But the truth works, and that's what I'm here to spread. But as a basic rundown on how to track your calories, you're gonna go to a TDEE calculator on the internet. You're just gonna fill everything out. It's gonna give you a baseline maintenance calories, which means how much calories you need to survive every day. And then you're gonna subtract about 500 to 700 calories from that because it is a calorie deficit after all. And it also may not even really be too accurate just because it's giving you an estimation. It's a calculator on a website. It's not some like scientist, all right? Like, I mean, I don't think you expect that it's going to be super accurate, but you gotta kind of like play around with it week to week. If you notice the scale's dropping at a rapid pace, then all right, you're on a good track, as long as you're like not dying from hunger or anything like that. Because there's levels to this, because even though it's really quick, if you can't sustain it, you're just gonna gain the weight back and it's not gonna do anyone any good, right? But I can make a full in-depth video on finding your maintenance calories and your calorie deficit just to make things a little bit easier on everyone. If that's something you want, just drop a comment down below. But now that you know that you need to be in a steep calorie deficit, about 500 to 700 calories, what do we need to know next? You're gonna do this step for me right now. You're gonna order, if you don't have one already, a food scale, because what we're gonna have to get used to doing is tracking every single calorie because we want to be as precise as possible. Remember, we're trying to get shredded as quick as possible, so we need to be precise. So if we know the amount of calories we need to eat every day, let's make sure we're actually eating that amount of calories every day. You know what I mean? Like, how you're gonna do this is you're gonna weigh stuff in grams, ounces, whatever you feel like it requires, and you're gonna plug it into an app like MyFitnessPal or any sort of calorie tracking app. It sounds like an unhealthy mental practice, and then you do it, and then you realize everything you were taught when you were younger is just a lie. But you're probably so used to eating until you're full, but you're just supposed to eat until you're nourished. I remember growing up when I was hungry, I would just eat until I was full, and that was just so odd of me looking back at it now. So you're hitting your calorie goal every day. At the same time, you want to be hydrated constantly. It's so easy for me to tell you to drink a lot of water, right? It really is. I could just tell you to drink a lot of water and send you on your way, but then you'll just feel like crap because of this one key factor that you're missing out on. Salt. People think salt is terrible for us. Hey Katie from Twitter or Facebook, stop spreading messages about how salt is killing us. Your body needs salt. It even craves it whenever it's depleted of salt. That's why you probably find yourself craving pizza at late hours of the night. Because part of our body needing salt for cognitive function, just feeling good in general, it also helps with appetite regulation. I'm telling you, it plays so many roles. Stop being a dumbass. Eat some salt. It's not gonna kill you. Especially if you're gonna be doing all these other steps, you're gonna be sweating a lot and you're losing a lot of salt in the process. And what also gets rid of so much salt in your system is drinking a shit ton of water. So that's why I'm not telling you to only drink water. Hey, shake my hand through the camera right now. That means we've established trust with each other. So you're gonna do this every morning. When you wake up, have about a liter of water with some salt. Bonus points if you get electrolyte blends on Amazon or whatever store you can get it from. Way better because then you have sodium, potassium, magnesium. You have a full electrolyte blend and that is perfect. You're gonna drink this first thing in the morning and just start moving. Just start walking around, do jumping jacks. I'll do jumping jacks sometimes. I'm not kidding, actually. I do it. One, you're starting to feel more energized. And two, you're gonna realize you're not actually as hungry as you think you are. You may even bump off like 300 to 500 calories of food that you would have eaten if you didn't hydrate properly. Because the morning is the most dehydrated state that you'll be in your whole day. This also helps you set yourself up because the rest of the day won't be a sweat. Get it? See what I did there? Sweat, salt, water. Actually, shut up. What am I doing? I want to go into something important that you may not even realize, but it's how your body actually burns calories. Your body's going to burn calories in several ways, not just exercise. Just resting, your body will burn the majority of its calories. But what's awesome is the more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn at rest. Because there's something called your total daily energy expenditure. This just simply means how many calories you burn in a day. And there's something called EAT. It's just an acronym for exercise activity thermogenesis, which is you going to the gym, you burning off calories on the treadmill, Stairmaster, lifting weights. Even though lifting weights doesn't actually burn that many calories, it's more the cardio, but lifting weights is just as important. But with all this being that important, it's not the main vessel for how your body burns calories, but it's split up between things called your NEAT, your thermic effect of food, and your basal metabolic rate. But the smallest fraction of how many calories you burn are actually from exercise, believe it or not. That doesn't mean you shouldn't exercise. It's still a very important piece of the pie. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is, because implementing more exercise involuntarily raises all the other bars of the pie, or all the other places that you can burn calories. But your thermic effect of food is just basically how many calories your body burns from digesting food. Kind of a weird concept, kind of hard to understand. You don't really need to memorize it, it's all right. But you burn most of your calories at rest and also what you are doing outside of the gym, which is your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. I feel like a fucking scientist right now. So what is the most important non-exercise activity that we do? This could be stuff that you have intention with or you don't have intention with. This means we can intentionally walk every day so that we can burn more calories, improve our digestion and our mental health. 10,000 steps a day, all you really need, all right? Or all the involuntary acts that we do that we don't think about, like fixing, adjusting our shirt, or just cracking our neck, or just like fidgeting with anything that we do. It does burn a lot of calories and you don't notice it because you don't think about it. So let's say you have a bad day. You don't follow your plan exactly how you want to. You kind of fall off the tracks a little bit. You go off rails. I'm telling you right now, the rebound from this shouldn't be punish yourself with more cardio because it's not gonna do as much as you think it will. And that's why consistency is so important. It's not about doing more tomorrow or doing more exactly after you cheat on your diet. So if you want to have a pizza today and then double your cardio tomorrow, you're just punching yourself in the face. It sounds like it's the right way to go, but you're just gonna burn yourself out and end up binge eating. So who wants that? You just don't have to worry as much as you think you do because your body's here to back you up since you already exercise 5 to 6 days a week. So just get right back on plan tomorrow because if you don't, you're just gonna spiral out of control. I have done that plenty of times. I'm telling you this works. So save yourself the time and tears and don't be a dumbass like I was and trust a smarter version of me now who learned from his mistakes. I mentioned earlier that weight training is actually really important to this whole process. And trust me, I don't think you're a dumbass. You know it's important too. You saw the thumbnail, you've seen the title. You're not gonna get your ideal look without weight training. But the level of training that you need to do is constantly going to need to be at the highest level that you can do on that day. It's okay to have bad days every now and again. We all have bad days, and that just makes the good days even better. What I'm not saying is you go into the gym, you have a plan, you have a routine, you have everything scheduled out for you, but you kind of just like go through the motions, you half-ass it, and then you're doing your cardio, and then you're doing a steep calorie deficit to pair with that, and it's just a formula for disaster. When you are training hard and you're pushing your sets as hard as you can with good form and trying not to injure yourself, obviously, you set yourself up to preserve the muscle, preserve the strength, and maybe even build muscle. How awesome is that? In a calorie deficit? Because in a deficit, a lot of people think that you're not going to be able to build much muscle, and you probably won't, but there's always a chance that you could. But I don't want this to scare you off from the protocol, because at the same time, the leaner you look, the bigger you look, because the body fat kind of just hides the muscle definition. You'll start to see this. So now that you know you need to prioritize your weight training, the next thing you really need to key in on is your sleep. And I'm not saying you need to sleep 10 to 12 hours every night. Honestly, if you could, that would be pretty sick. You'd feel amazing. You'd be at your best. But it's all about consistently getting enough sleep. Keyword consistently. 7 to 8 hours is primarily all one really needs, so just stick with that. Because when you're not consistently getting good sleep, you're going to be under recovered. You're not going to be able to train as hard. You're going to feel tired in the gym, tired throughout your day. You're setting yourself up for a higher risk of injury, maybe even holding water weight. And over time, if you're really not nailing this down, it can lead to higher cortisol levels, which means your stress hormone, and that is just terrible for a number of reasons. It could literally start to eat away at your muscle. They're like little bugs. You're gonna tear that shit off them by getting good sleep. It's like letting the bed bugs bite. So how much cardio should you be doing in this calorie deficit? This is going to depend on a lot of things, but we're gonna key in on your appetite and your level of energy throughout the day. I would find something slow and steady state unless you really don't want to do that, but shoot for 140 to 150 BPM, which is beats per minute. And any machine that you do in the gym, just hold on to the little gray scanners that will like scan your heart rate. It should tell you a pretty accurate representation. I don't really know if you should trust those things fully, but it should give you just an accurate representation to go off of. I normally preach for about 20 to 30 minutes with more exercise outside of the gym. You'll still see amazing results doing this. If you're a little bit more on the heavier set side, are you? Then maybe even try bumping it up from 30 minutes to 40 to 50 to maybe even 60 if you feel like it. But if you consistently do this for a few weeks and you just feel ravenous, like you want to tear down the pantry, or you have no energy throughout the day, you're feeling slumped just at 11 a.m., 12 p.m., what good is that going to do you? It's not sustainable, and you actually are supposed to feel more energized from exercise. You're not supposed to feel drained from it. So definitely do keep this in mind so you're not a zombie. Lastly, I've been hinting it earlier in the video, but you want to move more outside of the gym. This is just an easy way to sneak exercise into your day, and it's just so beneficial for you. Specifically, I'm just focusing on your step count. If you could consistently hit about 10K steps a day outside of the gym, maybe even higher if you want to go for it, you want to live a more active lifestyle, you're going to be in the clear. But how are some ways that you can actually do this? I do some crazy stuff to actually hit my step goal. Right now, I work a restaurant job, so it's not as high of a concern for me unless it's my day off, which is today. Wait, no, it's not. What the hell? Oh shit, I gotta go to work. Oh my god. All right, but I'm going to apply this method anyways, which is just productively finding something to do while walking around. You could just be pacing around. I'll go on my phone and edit videos from my phone for Instagram and Facebook, or if you live in a neighborhood that allows it, just go for some daily walks, and those steps really do add up throughout the day. Just do a few after you eat, because it also really does help with digestion as well, and digestion is really key, and that's why we want to be drinking more water as well. But I know it sounds ridiculous, but what I'm about to say is if I park farther away from where I'm going into, like a supermarket or anything like that, those little chunks of steps do add up. Say it's like 500 steps one way, 500 steps the other. That's 1,000 steps total. That's like 1/10 of what you have to do. I mean, it's just the little things you don't think about that really do add up. So that is all I really have for today. If you guys enjoyed this and you actually learned some things from it, drop a like and also comment down below what other videos you want to see from me. Make sure you check the description if you want more one-on-one help from me. It should be the first link below. All right, assholes. I'll see you later in the next one. I'll see